episode of the Iron Pulse podcast. Today, Kyle and I are going to be discussing some personal and company goals as 2022 wraps up and we get into 2023. So, Kyle, how you been? I feel like we haven't talked a lot recently.
Yeah, I've been good. I feel like we haven't talked as much as we typically do, so you're right. But yeah, still the same old.
Same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
Still living,
Yeah.
surviving.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get into some personal goals that we have for 2023. Would you like to start?
Yeah. My first one's probably my biggest one, and that is to officially move out to Denver. So that's top of my list right now.
That is a pretty big goal to have.
Yep.
Definitely a big goal. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it for a while. I know the plan's in motion. It's just the pieces aren't necessarily all connecting right now, but they will. But yeah, that's a good one for 2023. So I could do one. I mean, for me, like I think I need to get better with handling like stress. So like mine more along the lines of like just managing stress and depression a little bit better because I know that everybody has their own demons that they're going through and having to fight, and I think that for me it's 2022 has been definitely a year that has pushed me to some limits. So I need to find a better way to manage that as we go into 2023. So Kyle, what's another one that you have?
Well, first, I think that's a good goal to have, Cam. I think that's good that you're kind of doing a little bit of self-reflection too. Like I think that's a good one that sometimes people might not really see as something to try to get better at.
Well, I think I think one thing that I've always been is kind of self-aware. I know when I'm struggling with something, and it's not like as much as I keep everything like pretty close to my chest. I mean, I talk to you about some of the stuff, and maybe Eric and some of my other closer friends, but it's just I got to find a way to manage it better and just become happier, and that was my second one actually, is because like there are times where it's just, dude, like there are just everything is going wrong at everything's going wrong together. It's like you get bad news from something, and then you get in your car, and all of a sudden your check engine light comes on, or your change oil light comes on, right? It's just like everything that is going wrong. It seems like it hits like all at once, and it tests the character a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, stress, depression, like becoming happier. I mean, you and I know. I mean, you had you had some of the some similar stuff too. Whenever your car basically flooded, and then like your lights came on, and you had what was it, like your dashboard, something within your car that you had to spend a couple $100 to fix. It's like
tires,
there are things. Yeah, new tires, new brakes, and there are just things that you try to be optimistic, right? But you got to be realistic too.
Yeah.
And I mean, just managing stress, depression, becoming happier, like that's a big one for me. This year was just rough. So those are two for me. But yeah, sorry, Kyle, what was your second one?
Next one for me, and this is one that I'm trying to take super seriously because it's been quite some time since we've been, well, I say we, but mainly me, in a good gym routine. But I want to get back into a routine that I'm comfortable with and one that makes sense. So whether that's maybe doing some cardio, or maybe trying to play some pickup soccer with friends here or there, like just doing stuff that gets me active and outside doing something, because I think I'm kind of realizing that going to the gym every single day isn't really something that I'm passionate about per se. So like either, whether it's going for a jog, playing soccer a little bit, or going to the gym, one of those three, trying to do that consistently through 2023 and, try to get in better shape, because that second half of 2022 was just not it for me in terms of physical fitness.
It's been a wild ride for 2022.
Yeah.
Um, but it's funny you say that because that's like my third one is bringing a like my best physique that I can for 2023 because I didn't really count macros this year. I mean, I stayed relatively like thin, obviously, and still had some muscle mass, but yeah, I want to bring a good physique next year. Go for my best physique, which I know how hard I worked before, so it's gonna be quite interesting to see what 2023 brings with that side of things because I'll get back into counting the macros and I'll just put my head down and just work at it. And I think like Kyle, like getting into that gym routine definitely that's a big win. It's not necessarily forcing anything that won't last because if you try to force something, it's just not going to last.
Yep.
As long as you want it to. So yeah, just finding like for both of us, just finding that routine, getting on schedule, having fun with it, um, having that why, that big driver. And I think that's a big one for both of us too, is like the why, right? We talk about that all the time, but what was really the why that you started lifting? I mean, is it the same one now? Mine's not.
Yeah.
So, so it's finding that purpose again as to why you want to do this in the first place.
Yeah, definitely.
And then did you have a third one?
Third one for me is kind of a long shot just because there's a lot of moving pieces that have happen before that. But towards the end of the year, I'd like to be in a position where I can either buy a house or purchase some type of real estate that can kind of become some type of an investment opportunity. Just because I'm sick of paying rent. Rent is just money that goes right down the drain.
Yeah, that's a good point. I actually didn't have that
It's
on
a
my
it's a
list,
long
but
shot goal for me. I don't know that it'll happen next year, but yeah, it's like that Elon
it's just
Musk
it's
quote where
crazy.
if you take like a 2 3 year plan and crunch it into a year, you might not make it, but you'll be closer to that goal than if you stayed on track for a 3 year plan.
Right. Yeah, it's being 25,
It's
26,
tough though.
and on a single income, it's definitely become more difficult, especially out here in Colorado. Like
Yeah.
in Denver, it's gonna be hard to do that too. But yeah, that's a good plan to have. So if we get into some company goals that we have for the company goals, my first one is I want to increase our advertising and like retail presence. Like we don't really have much of that, if any. So I really want us to take a look at getting into the advertising game. We had talked about this last episode, but
Yep.
and trying to find some more retail presence any way that we possibly can. Whether that's doing another fashion show, I don't know. We're gonna have to kind of play it by ear. I mean, I will say that like this year we've moved 110 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Like I haven't blinked, and all of a sudden it's the end of December. Christmas is in a week and a half. Um, this year has completely just flown by. So it'll be interesting, but that is my first goal.
That's
What do you have?
ironically my first one as well. I don't know if that's just because we were talking about it earlier in the week and it was fresh on my mind, but paid ads is something that I want to get into. Kind of goes along with advertising presence, like you mentioned. Well, whether it's paid ads or any form of advertisement, I think that's the next step for us. Just because in the years past we've really only done social media advertising and maybe some email templates here or there, but I mean, overall, it's really just been through social media, not necessarily a lot of advertisement type things.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And my second one is start releasing some podcast videos. Obviously, this plays off of you actually like being out here. We'll get some podcast videos going, some more guest speakers, and just getting that involved, getting the influencers more involved. So I'm lumping this all into one. So releasing podcast videos, more guest speakers, getting the influencers more involved. I think that it's easy for things to kind of drop off with people. So we need to find a plan and make a game plan as to how we can get everybody more involved.
Yep, that's a good one. And then my last one was to have more professional type videos for social media and advertising. I think the videos that we've had in the past were awesome and they were great as we were starting up. But now that we're, looking to take more leaps into 2023, I think we need to have crisper videos and just, different types of advertising that kind of appeal and make us appear to be more of a, just kind of like a bigger player in the game as opposed to some of the stuff that we've had in the past when it comes to, videos and stuff like that.
Right. Video content is still king. It's a lot harder to put together effectively.
Yeah. I think a better way to put it would be for next year, us having a game plan with video shoots and, tailoring a video to what we want to have a product be or market as, because in the past we've just kind of, shown up and started shooting, which is good to an extent and helps capture content, but we need to have, better game plans when it comes to campaigns and stuff like that for future product launches.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. My last one is to hone in more on product details and quality instead of necessarily quantity. So, this year we released like 59, almost 60 different items and colors collectively. We will not be doing that next year. And it's just because I think that Kyle and we're going to take a step back, look at the bigger picture of what we really want to focus on, which I would think would be product details and the quality of everything. And instead of just like pushing products each month like we did, we're going to be more, we're going to just take a different approach to how we go about releasing new items in 2023. So Kyle, I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to mention with that or if you're on the same page.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's been a long year, but I know like we have personal and professional goals that we want to take with us into 2023, and we'll look back on this episode next year, the end of next year, and we'll see what we were able to accomplish. But yeah, it's definitely been a big year for the company, especially just moving forward in the right direction, to say the least. So
yeah.
Do you have anything else, Kyle, or we can wrap it up right here?
Yeah, I think we're good to wrap it up.
Perfect. Well, we hope that everybody found value in the show. Take your own personal and professional goals, share them with us. We'd be more than happy to chat about them with you. As always, thank you for taking the time to listen. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, and TikTok at Official Iron Pulse. If you prefer email, we've still got you covered. You can subscribe to the Iron Pulse report by visiting shopironpulse.com. And remember, no matter what you do, be all in.